right, hello everyone. Thank you for coming. If you haven't met me before, and I think most of you have, my name is Stephen Bailey. I am one of two help desk analysts here at Goucher College, the other being Brandon Lentz. Usually if you're calling or emailing the help desk, it's one of us two that's answering those emails or phone calls. So here's the face of the name. So why are we here? Well, a lot of you wanted to learn more about Office 365, so we're going to get more in depth into what is it, how does it work, what makes it different from what you may be used to, and we're going to go a little bit more into some features you may not be aware of, including forms, video, and the Teams and Groups applications. So first, let's go ahead and move on. So what is Office 365? Well, it is an integrated online environment that can be used to access your email, files, and Office programs all in one space. Now you notice I mentioned the Google Suite here on the next slide. Who here has used like Gmail or Google Calendar? Like a lot of people. So you guys are probably more familiar with the Google Suite of programs. Office 365 is very much like that in terms of how it interacts. So if you notice right here, where it has Google Drive, we instead have the Microsoft OneDrive. Instead of Docs, Sheets, and Slides, we have Word, Excel, and PowerPoint online. And instead of Gmail being the email application, we have Outlook. The thing that differs it from Google Suite is, other than it being Microsoft instead of Google, it offers additional integrations that are geared more towards educational and business institutions. So I personally have a Gmail account. I use Calendar a lot, but it's more for like my own personal like habits and routines and things like that. Microsoft has really done a lot in terms of setting this up more for businesses and educational institutions. So we're going to get more into that. Let's see here. If I want to draw just a quick diagram of how the system works, because a lot of people have been asking, is this an application that I have installed on my computer? It's not. It's the overall, it's basically your overall account. So if you have your Office 365 account right here, within that, you have your email, your calendar, you have your various documents saved here, and from there, all of this interacts with your various programs such as Word, or PowerPoint, or Excel, or Outlook. And it auto-feeds all the way back to those systems and auto-syncs in real time. Does that make sense? Sort of clear up some of that right there. So it's not the actual applications you're installing. My screen keeps... There we go. Sorry. There we go. Cool. So let's take a little bit into how it looks. So let's say I want to create a test document on my account. No, that's not the right account. So let's say I want to, right now here we are in the Office 360, in the Office homepage there. So I want to create a quick Word document. So I'll just open up Word, and it goes into the Word online program. And then from here, you can see it has most of the features available for Word. You have your home, insert, tabs, and whatnot. I can rename the document here. So let's say workshop document. So I can't, unfortunately. Zoom in. Let's see here. Like that. Is that better? All right, cool. So from there, I can then just say, this is my test document for, now notice up in the top right next to the name of the document, it says it's saving. Test document for the workshop. So as you see right here, it's auto-saving in real time. I'm going to wait for it to finish. Saved. If I close out that document, refresh my home page, notice that document shows up in my recent documents list. I didn't touch anything else. I can simply reopen it and it'll open back up.
So, I'm sorry, I'm kind of slow back here. So when I open Word, obviously it's just the regular Word. It's not Word Online. So how did
This is Word Online. If you want, and that's something that I will get to in a bit, is the interaction between the desktop and the online applications.
This is found where on our where do we find this on our?
As soon as you log in to Office 365.
Okay.
So we're going to get to that part in a bit. So, Andrew, the screen keeps going. I don't know why. Screensaver's off. Yeah, no worries. Cool. So, yeah, fair enough. So let's go ahead and get back to the presentation. So we talked a little bit about how the system works. It allows you to use various Microsoft programs, such as we just did with Word, on a web browser platform. Note it can be accessed on any device with an internet connection. So if you're not at your own personal or work computer, say you're at a public library or something like that, you can still go to office.goucher.edu, sign in with this format. It's your username at goucher.edu, and you can quickly pick up your work that you were working on before. And as I noted right there, automatically saves documents online. Now the next bullet point here is that our license allows local installation of the Office suite on up to 5 computers. Note we're not talking about Goucher-owned computers, but if you say you have a personal computer at home, our license allows you to install it on up to 5 computer devices. I don't think that includes mobile devices. It does? Okay, all right. Maybe that's why I was having problems before. So, and as you note here, we also have mobile applications also available. If I even show you right here, I can basically, on an iPad, open up Word and pick up where I left off, even with that document. Yeah, I got you. So, all right, so I'm opening up Word. Go back to my document that I just created. And I can continue working even from this iPad. So notice how it's syncing across all devices, and it's all linked to your Office 365 account. So now we're going to talk, this is your question, I believe, is the difference between the different applications. Yep.
The last message, I don't know if anybody saw that, but how do you actually access Office 365? It's office.goucher.edu, using your username at goucher.edu.
I think, yeah, I think I said that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries. No worries.
Okay.
So now we're going to get into the differences between, say, what's going on here with this computer, laptop, my iPad, even your mobile phones can install some of these programs. So I'm going to start first with the web email. So this is what most of you have probably used to log in online. So if I slip back over to my account, a lot of you have probably already gone here to your Outlook. So for the most part, not too much difference in terms of layout with the desktop application. You still have over here all your folders. You have your search up in there. There's your inbox. If I want to see my additional folders, I believe, yep, here they are with the inbox. Create new message. Now, here's a really cool thing, is let's say you need to change an individual setting within your email account. The biggest common one we've seen is forwarding. All you need to do is click on that little cog icon, and you can search for whatever setting you want. Say I want to set up forwarding. It'll take you to the setting that you want to access. So then I can click that, and it'll open it up, and I can set up whatever I need. If I need to set block, if I want to block an email or an addresser, I'll go here and set that. So overall, pretty similar in look to your Outlook program. Obviously, it's not going to have as much functionality, and that's going to get into my next point from the presentation, is with the Office Suite programs. For the pretty much across the board, your desktop applications you have installed have more features. The common one I've seen people ask about is the track changes in Word. So if you want, now the good thing is, even if you're working on a document in Word Online, you can still throw it onto Word and then save the changes back into your account. So let me show how that works real quick. If I go back, that's the test account again. Oh, it's one of these. So let's say I want to turn on track changes, edit document. You can either do it in the browser real quick or open full Word. Let's just do the browser just to see how it looks. So let's say I want to say track changes. It says it's not here. So then we can go ahead and use the full functionality of Word. What it'll do is then open the document in a bit. Sorry, this computer's a little slow. There we go. Oh. Oh gosh. This did not happen in my testing. It was that same error that we had when we synced it across the devices. All right, so I do apologize for that. Let me pull up a different document then. I'm going to OneDrive. All right, so pulling up a different document, edit document in Word. Okay, there's something wrong with the station. We're gonna have to take a look at it later. Because I had to install the Office 2016. Something must not have happened, right? Okay. All right. Well, I do apologize for that. All right. Getting back into it. Let's see here. So, sorry I can't demonstrate it. I have to take a look at this computer later. But basically what it would look like is the document would open in your full Word program. You can make your edits, hit Control-S, and it sends the information back to your online account. And then you can just close the application from there. So now, all right. So with that, I need to talk a little bit about OneDrive, which is basically the file storage space. What is it?
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
When I'm in Box, I'm using Word Online.
We're going to get to that in a bit. Yes. So, all right. So let's go ahead. And from here on, we're going to be doing mostly demonstrating in the actual application. So notice I mentioned over here, I don't know if you can see it, email and calendar is stored in your account, and so is documents. Your documents are stored on a system called OneDrive, which basically acts almost identical to Box. So if I go into my OneDrive account here, notice a lot of the documents I have here. This is where if you work on a document on your online program and then save it or automatically saves it, it goes to here. So that's basically the generic overview, and you can do sharing, file sharing with others within your organization and things like that. So
So, if you're working at home on 365
yes.
for a Word document, but your office has a desktop, so how do I retrieve it when I get back to my desktop?
You can log in to your online account and then reopen it.
Do you have to go into your 365 on your desktop to get it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's also there is also a syncing feature. They have a desktop application which I'm going to get to, and you're able to do sync files through that as well. So it'll sync through that. So cool. So that is all we're going to talk about in terms of OneDrive, because basically we got a good overview of what's going on. Your main account, your email and calendar. Oh, I forgot to show you calendar. Let's do that real quick. If I go to Outlook. So down here, mail button, if you want to get your calendar, there it is. So it's going to load up. Let's choose my calendar. So, and there's your main, again, pretty similar to the desktop application. There's my shared calendars that I have over here on the left-hand side. If I need to create a new event, I can go ahead, title it out, put in all these details, and invite people up there. So, yes?
Do we need to do anything to update the desktop version of our Outlook now with the 365?
I don't think so.
Automatically because we can
So the web version is going to be the most up-to-date. For the most part, it syncs automatically, but for some people, they may encounter errors on their Outlook program. The fastest, until you call us, like the fastest thing you can do is just log in online. Everything will be up to date there. So that's a good question. So this will be the most up to date if you experience problems with your desktop Outlook program. So, and also it shows notifications here. Nothing new right now. But if I get an email or something, you get a notification there. So,
Excuse me.
yes.
So if you want to share that calendar with people?
Share your calendar?
Yeah.
Okay. So you would go to choose your calendar. You can right click and choose sharing permissions.
Oh, okay.
So,
And then you add.
yep. If you have additional questions with anything related to specific functions within the system, you can click this question mark and search, let's say, share. Calendar sharing. So this automatically links you to the Office, Microsoft Office help documents, and you can be able to search for individual issues there. So, cool. This keeps logging on me. There we go. All right, so now let's get into some more of the applications. Now we've gotten a general overview of how the system works. So 3 of the applications we're going to talk about today are Forms, the video application, and then Teams. So first we're going to start with Forms. So let me go over back to my home page, and I'm going to click the Forms application. Now, all of you have probably responded to the RSVP form that you guys filled out, put in your name and things like that. That was actually a form that we created straight from here. So from here, I can open up what it looked like on our end. So you remember some of these questions you had to answer, like entering your name, are you able to attend, things like that. You're able to create ranking questions here and text questions as well. You can also generate quizzes like this, although right now I don't see too much usage with that since we already have Canvas set up. But if you wanted to create like maybe like a quick quiz to sort of at the start of a semester get to know like where people are in terms of their knowledge of a subject, this would be kind of a cool way to do it, is you can create a quiz and then put in the answers and have them take the test. So just kind of send it out to them. So if we look over here, and I can show you a little bit more, if I want to say set different types of questions, see we have choice ones, sort of like right here, text like these two. Date's kind of a weird one. It basically asks you to choose like out of a series of dates which one maybe works for you. And then a rating system. This one is the rating system, so you're able to move different applications up and down to say, I want to learn about this one first, and maybe that one second, and things like that. So once you're finished, and you can see the preview right here, I can type in my name, say yes, and it opens up additional questions. So we're going to get out of the preview.
Can you show, that's one that's already made. Fees to make one.
So that's kind of what I just what I started with was you can what you would do is you would have basically no questions on this form, and you can click this button to add a question.
So when it comes up initially, the first time?
Yeah.
It'll come up
like pretty much ask you to, yep, it'll ask you to add your first question. Yep. So, and you can also set different themes if you want like different picture backgrounds and things like that. Note back in the preview, this is also mobile friendly. So if you send an email link, it will look exactly like this on someone's phone. So they can be able to respond to it that way.
And anybody can respond to this, they don't have to have a
We're going to get to that real soon. So, actually right now. So once you finish your form, you click here to share your form. Now, that question is answered here in that you can set it to only people in the organization or anyone with the link. Now, you still have to mail out the form, and you can simply copy and paste this link or click here and it'll open your Outlook and you can send the email that way. If you have a website and you want people to fill it out, you can embed it within the website using that code. And I believe this is a QR code. So if you want to post a QR code on your door, maybe have your students like quickly scan it and then they can upload whatever form or whatever you want to have them do. And if you want to have someone else collaborate with it, you just send them this link. So let's take a look at the responses, because once you start getting responses, this is what you see. And so this is all of your, oh, someone said no. Okay then. That's actually probably Cynthia Terry, yeah. So you can view the individual results by question. Now, because I set it to anyone with the link, if I click on more details, it will list all their IDs as anonymous. In order for that not to happen, they need to have an Office 365 account and log in. So when you send them the code, it'll prompt for a login, and then they can take the form. But as you see, here's all of your responses set out. From here, we're able to see how many people are attend. This is the reason why we asked the second question. If you're not able to attend, please notice why. So it's a valid reason. Right here is where we basically gauge your interest in the different sections of this workshop. So as you can see here, most of you rated pretty much email and calendar at the very top, with Teams and the online Office suite. If I can magnify that. Teams and the Office suite coming about second, with video pretty much last. And then with more questions, if we open up those details, someone asked, they were saying they wanted to know more about the Teams and Groups video. Someone said they were just hoping for an overview, and someone just flat out said no. So let's see. So that's how we basically were able to gauge your responses from a quick and easy form. Like this took maybe about 5 to 10 minutes to set up. So cool. And that is pretty much it for forms. So now we're going to move to the next application. I can take 1 or 2 quick questions. Yes?
Sorry to keep asking this.
Yeah, no worries.
Because I have both, the desktop without it and a laptop with it. So the responses, can you view if you do one of these forms, can you review them on your desktop? Or do you have to go into 365?
So right here, you can export them to an Excel format.
From your desktop or from 365?
You can, if I click that, and it probably won't work because this computer is acting weird, but if I open up an Excel, it automatically creates an Excel document.
But you have to from 365.
Yes, you have to go into 365 to open it up. So, but then it auto exports out to an Excel document. So then you can be able to further process your data that way. So, and you also view individual responses. They all say anonymous, so there's that. Cool. I'll take a drink. All right. Oh, and it also shows you who else is in the document. So right now, Judy's also editing it. So cool. So now we're going to move on to video. Video, really quick run through, is basically YouTube for Goucher College. All right. We've run into a couple situations with classes where a professor may ask someone to create a class presentation video, and the file is just way too big to upload to Canvas or into a PowerPoint document. What you can do instead is create channels here and then upload them here. So we've seen that some people have already uploaded presentations here. If I go to some of the channels, this was a test channel I created last year. If I want to create a new channel, I can go ahead and say new channel and create. And then depending on the settings that I set for that channel, I can make it visible only to a certain group of people, like say your own class, or make it available to everyone within the college. Default obviously is everyone within the college, so right now everyone can see that new channel I just created. So if we go ahead and open up my test channel from last year, I uploaded a video. I can go into the channel settings here, and the biggest one is probably permissions. So here I can set myself as the owner, I can set various people as editors, and right there is where I would change the available users, because I understand YouTube is a popular application to upload videos, but it's not as secure, whereas this is housed within our own organization. So if you're doing presentations or say training videos, we might even upload this onto here for people then to just log in and view. So that's an option for you there. So I said right here, everyone except internal users, or I can just set it to everyone.
Can you send it to, when you say all of Goucher College?
Yep.
Staff, faculty, students, what do you mean?
Everyone. Everyone with a Goucher account.
Can you select students?
Yep, that's what you would do within the channel settings right here. So let's say I only want you to be the viewer. Nah, that's the last name first. Shucks. I can set you as the only viewer for this channel, right there. So you would set whoever you want to have available. It can even be an entire group if you wish, which we're going to get into very shortly. So that is pretty much it for video.
Wait a sec, so is this where you can create video?
This is where you upload videos. So you already have to create it. Yeah, it's basically like YouTube. You would just, it's the same way where you upload a video to YouTube, you just upload a video here.
But it's only videos you've created? Or
Yes.
the students have created?
Yep.
Not like a link to a video that's publicly accessible?
Yep, exactly. And the way you would share that, and you also get viewer statistics there within the video, and you can email out the link or embed it in a website you already have. So that's how you would share it out to other people. Yes?
If we embed in a website that we already have, then only if somebody clicked on it who wasn't in the Goucher community, then they wouldn't be able to.
I believe the embed link would override that if your website's publicly accessible, because you're basically embedding it directly into your site. So that's a thing. I'm assuming that's what the case is, because it's the same thing with YouTube. But you're more than welcome to test it out. All right, let me go ahead and move on to the final section, which is the biggest one we're going to talk about, and that is teams and groups. So the first thing that we need to discuss regarding this is, what is a team and what is a group? So let me go ahead and open up, and the way you would access it in this case, it's a little weird. I have to open up all my applications and go to people. You can also access it if you're already in your email. It'll be the little two-person icon right there. Is there a way to get rid of this thing? Oh, there we go. Cool. That's good enough. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about what are groups. Now, basically, how many of you have worked with, say, an email distribution list? Probably everyone. So obviously a group is just a group of users grouped together, but what makes this kind of unique is that it also creates additional space for collaboration within that group. So to get to talk about that more, I'm going to go into our own test group that we did. As you can see, I created a group called Test and added mostly people from our own team, as well as some of our student workers. So this is a big thing. Every single student has an Office 365 account. New students, I believe, are getting, new undergraduate students starting next semester are going to have their email set up on there. Because I think the previous ones were on mail.goucher, which was Google. But everyone, regardless of that, has an Office 365 account. So you can add students. Let's say you're part of a class. You want to set up a group class. You can do it here. Or if you're part of a staff department that interacts with both staff and student workers, this would be a good opportunity for you to create a team and interact that way further. So we're going to go into some of the different features within the group. If we go to the Conversations tab, this is basically just an overview of different emails that were sent throughout the group system. And right now, there's not really much going on. It's mostly just me messing around with the system. We'll get more into what these individual things are in a bit. Next, we have the Files tab. Now, the Files tab is a space for a document collaboration within your group. So let's say I want to go ahead and upload. You can upload straight from your drive, or you can drag and drop from your OneDrive. You can upload a document to file share to here. I would not recommend doing it here, but in Teams, which we're going to talk about shortly. So, next is Calendar. And from here, you can see my personal calendar, but you also see that there's an additional calendar called Test. What you can do is create new events within the test group or your own group, and then it'll automatically invite everyone within that group. So I did that last month right here. Created a test event for people to add, sent to everyone. No one else responded, but that's fine. And it shows you exactly who accepted. So no earlier when I said that there's an email, probably should have backed up with this. Notice here it's sent to test. What it actually does is when you create a group, it creates an email list with that name. So right now there's an email address created called test@goucher.edu. What the system does is basically send that calendar invite to that email address, which then, just like a distribution list, sends it to the entire group. If you want to send an email to the entire group, all you have to do is create the email and then send it to that address. So I would send it to test@goucher.edu. Yes?
So what is the advantage of doing it this way versus doing a calendar invite? Because this summer, somebody's job is going to be populating faculty calendars with all the important dates.
Mm-hmm.
What we were planning to do was a calendar invite, but is it better for us to be using this?
If you already have a distribution list set up, I wouldn't do it this way. This is for if you want to create your own custom distribution list. Yes. So, for instance, let's say one of your departments, let's say, for example, communications department is trying to interact more with their student workers. They can create their own custom group and then send the calendar invite to that address, and it'll go to everyone in that group only. Does that make sense? So if you already have one set up, it doesn't really matter. It shouldn't be done like this, probably. So does that answer that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
So.
I guess it does. I wouldn't use this for communicating or interacting with faculty and staff. This is more if you need to communicate, share files with students or your student workers.
Or if you want to create a custom collaboration between departments, which sometimes that happens. And you can create a group, set it up, and then when the collaboration is done, you can have the group dismantled. So that's just an additional feature for just collaboration. And then right here you have a notebook. What it does is automatically create a OneNote file for the group. So as you see, we see a couple of functions here. All right. So within all of that, let me get back to my group. was being a jerk. There we go. Cool. So this is the overall view of the group. Now let's talk about Teams. And Teams is actually the application I would probably use to interact with the group. It's sort of like your Outlook to interact with your email, so to speak. So, and one thing to note is that there is a desktop application, and we're actually going to get into that next, right now. So right here is the Teams application. And notice if I actually go back to my home page, all I need to do is click on Teams right here. Loading Microsoft Teams. And it takes you straight into Teams application. As you can see right here, not too much difference between the desktop application and the web application. So we're just going to use the desktop for now. All right. So notice right here, automatically, when you have a group, automatically creates a team spot for you. So within the team application, you can create separate channels and do additional collaboration this way. So we're going to start first with the Teams tab right here. Notice that we have our test account, and I went ahead and created 2 separate channels. Yes?
So if you wanted to create your group, how would you create your group?
Yes. Right now, our system administrators have locked it down so that they can only create groups by request. So you would submit a ticket to help desk saying, I want to create a group, give us a name, say what kind of group it is, and that's another thing I forgot to mention. There are different types of groups. You can have just straight like classroom, sort of like a class collaboration, in which case it would set sort of a teacher-student profiles. You can have like a staff work group, so it'd just be like staff members or student workers as well. So the interactions would be more even in terms of privileges. Or I think another one that was available was professional learning communities. So it's sort of like people that are studying for professional certifications. All that can, if you want to do more research on that, we can talk about some of the training documentation later. But for right now, what you need to know is if you want to create a team, basically hit us up. And we can go ahead and send it up to our system administrators. So yes. Thank you very much. So let's, yes.
Sorry, I'm getting confused between groups and teams.
Basically, when the group is created, the team application interacts with the group. We're going to talk about the interactions right now. So
what you just showed us under groups, we have no control over.
no, you have control over it. It's one way of interacting with it. This is a more streamlined way. Yes. So, and right now, I also know that we haven't really set guidelines for creating groups, but I'm pretty sure because we've had some, it's complicated. I'm not going to get into that.
Setting up the group is the help desk.
Yes.
Setting up the group, once it's set up, the person who put in the request, I guess the admin rights, and then they can add whoever
You can.
wants to access it and set it up as however you see fit.
Yep. So the Teams application, in my thought, is the best way of interacting with your group. So within here, even within the test group that we had, you can click this button and you can see all these different features, such as manage the team, adding a channel, you can add additional members, and things like that. So if you want to see some more of the settings there, I can basically edit some of these channels to make it more secure, or make some channels private, make some channels open only to certain people within the group. So that's how that would work. Getting back, so let's go back. There we go.
I just need to ask a clarifying question. So I already have, say I have a group in my Outlook for SI student leaders. It's about 40 kids. So in order for me, so I would have to, is it something that I can, instead of retyping all those names, can I send you that list in Outlook? Is there something that I can, or, why would
Technically, you would, if you wanted to create a group like this, you would have admin rights, so you would be the one to set that. So
So it's more for them to collaborate.
Yes, exactly. Let me,
I don't really need to do it.
again, if you already have it, as I said from her question,
Yeah.
then you don't need to do this.
Right,
So this is for custom collaborations or new collaborations between staff and student workers. So continuing on. So I see I created a couple of channels here. Base channels, you're going to see is conversations and files. And someone, oh, that was me. Okay. So as you can see here, this is basically a chat space, more or less. So if we scroll up, and it's trying to load. Come on. And it's having some issues. It's just the computer. So people are able to basically post messages. And notice here, with a lot of chat programs, let's say some people are asking multiple questions at the same time within a chat channel, and no one's really sure who's replying to what. I like how they do it here in that, let's say I want to reply to Husni's response there. Then I can just click reply, say hello, and it automatically tags it as a response to that particular thread right there. Notice you can also attach documents within the conversations tab right there. You can send custom pictures and things, just like that. So this is sort of like a conversation board, or if you want to pin certain messages, this is where you would do it. All right. Next. They need an Office 365 account, otherwise they can't do it, yeah. So, all right, next the Files tab, and this is additional collaboration. So, you saw earlier we had a few files within the Groups view saved. Within the Teams view, you're able to save it per channel. So notice that in the general channel, we have a couple Word documents saved here, but within this channel, there's nothing. So if you need to split up work between different channels, this would be a better way to do it, because then you can say, okay, this channel have access to these files, this channel have access to these files, instead of all of it being one big pot, so to speak. All right. You can also add additional cloud storage. It does sync with Box, so that's a big question there. Google Drive, Dropbox, and these other services. Now, one thing to note, if I can open this directly, but with students that don't have Box accounts, they'll need to create, because they have to log in to grant access, they'll need to create a free account in order to access your files through this space. So that's something to keep in mind if you want to do it that way. But for everything else, they can share their documents back to you using Google Drive. And as I said before, the new students are moving over to Office anyway, so they won't be on Google. All right. New upload, all that good stuff. So those are the two main things, but then also you can add additional applications to interact with your team. Again, you can create a notebook, which is actually not standard. You would have to add it using this plus button. But within here, you can go ahead and anyone within that channel can access your OneNote document here, which is shared between that channel or team. So if someone else, say Andrew, wants to come in here and make some edits, he can just do it straight from the application. All from one application. And again, you can also open it in OneNote Online.
So is OneNote the name of any document in OneDrive?
OneNote is an application in the Office suite.
Okay.
Yeah, you probably have it installed on your computer.
It's not really.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah, so. You can also add additional things like, one cool thing I found, well actually let me just show you. You can add all sorts of different applications and integrate it with your channel. So if anyone likes to use, say, Trello, you can integrate that into your team. If your group is working with Creative Cloud files, you can integrate that into your channel and then share the files through that. Within that, you can also do Excel, forms, and all that good stuff. I don't know what half these applications do. I'm just going to be honest. But if there's one that you're more interested in and you want to test it out, you can add it to your channel and then see how it works. And you can also access additional applications through the store down here. So right here, I downloaded one called Poly. So all Poly is a polling app. And so all I need to do is type in @Poly, how is everyone, good, bad. Oh. I'm getting the syntax wrong somewhere. But I had it right earlier, and so we basically created a couple polls, if I can find them. Notice here you can also integrate places and quickly add maps. So here's a Poly. So I basically just created this kind of cool poll app. People answered. Apparently they like pineapple. And you can also view the results there. So that's the Teams, basically the Teams application there. Or sorry, the Teams tab, as you can see on the left side. We actually already have a class using Teams for a group collaboration project with the I think it's the Humane Society of Baltimore County. And so you noticed this is an actual class usage right now. So they've basically split up all of their different teams into channels. From each one, you can open up a certain channel, see the conversations happening between those students, see the files being shared, and see any notes that are going back and forth there. So in case you were wondering how it can be used in a live class setting, this is it. And you can see they did all sorts of things. So, and again, separated out between channels so it's not all clumped together into one big giant mess. So, yep, see this channel has a lot more going on in terms of file sharing. Nope, no one's used their, nope.
Can you explain when the instructor wanted to use Teams?
Yes, so Joseph Coutron was creating a group collaboration project with I think they're sort of processing, doing data processing with like different breeds and like surrender rates and adoption rates with the Humane Society of Baltimore County. So he decided to split the entire setup into different channels so that within 2 classes, say you have 4 or 5 people within each channel working on their own separate units. So if you have, say, like a group effort, like so let's say your department's working on multiple projects at once, you can set different channels, assign those people to those channels, and then they can collaborate within those spaces. So, cool. Some of the other tabs a little bit more straightforward. Meetings tab basically just shows you a quick overview of what anyone has in a team right there. Files basically gives you an overview of what files are in your cloud storage. Now note here, I have my OneDrive here, but I also can integrate Box directly into this application. So if I open up Box, and it's going to ask me for permission. Because I haven't done it on this computer yet. There we go. So within the Teams application, I can access my Box files. Or I can access OneDrive. Or if I want to add additional cloud storage, I can add Google Drive, Dropbox, or ShareFile. So if you're interacting with different types of cloud storage at once, this would be a really good application for you to try out. So. The assignments button is only if you set up a class group. As I talked before, you can set up a group where it's basically like you can set assignments and pass them to the students. This would be where it's at. So I'm not going to get into that. And then the last thing I believe we're going to talk about is the chat feature. The chat feature basically allows you to talk to, set up chat conversations with, well, anybody, I believe. So I could start a chat conversation with, say, Thomas back there, just by clicking here. Yep, there you are. And you'll probably get an email notice saying you got a message on your Teams application once it finishes sending. So within your chat channels, you can also do additional things, such as with this. You can do file sharing even within a individual chat channel. So even files that are not shared within the team, you can share to an individual here, and you can access them there. Nope. Oh, you got my message. All right. Where'd he go? There you are.
Is there a desktop application for the chat?
Yep, this is all on the one desktop application.
Oh, desktop.
This is the desktop application right now. So that's what we're looking at.
Is it based Slack?
Sorry, what?
Slack
This could potentially, yeah.
This is similar to Slack, so.
It's very similar to Slack.
plus it has a
Yeah, and I'm gonna get into that. So, so within an individual conversation, and you can have it with multiple people. You see down here, I had a four-way chat with them. You can also set up video and audio chats because Microsoft does own Skype. So just keep that in mind. If, say, you need to do online a collaboration with someone and they're like halfway across the country, you can simply just use this service, this application to do it. So, and then the last feature I want to talk about, and going backwards a little bit, is the planner application. This is a really big thing with Teams because this is what allows you to delegate tasks to individual people. So within here, and notice that if I create the plus button, you can add individual planner tabs. So we've already created one. And it opens up the planner app within the Teams application. So if you need to assign different tasks in different categories, you can simply set your category. Notice I set them based on my testing of the individual applications. Or I can create a new bucket. Let's say I need to talk about deployments. I would create a new assignment and say these categories are going to be about deployments. So within that, let's say I want to create a new task, and I'll assign it to Andrew in front of me. No, shucks, no way, that's not the right one. Let's say I want to say test Mac support. I can assign it to.
Not assign the due date to midnight this time, so my phone doesn't go
Oh,
off.
I didn't know that did that. Oh God, I'm sorry. We're not going to set a due date, but you can set a due date. All right. So I think it just defaulted to midnight. I'm sorry about that.
My words are freaking out. It's like, you've been overused text.
So what's going to happen? So that's pretty funny. What's going to happen is that as soon as I click Add Task, he's going to get an email notice in his inbox saying you've been assigned a task. So if, and I actually have a test account open, if I want to go back into that team, let me sync this up.
Oh, look, I've been assigned a task.
So I'm just going to keep that open right there. And let's say I go into, this is the student test account that I have. I'm going to assign myself a task, test stuff. Assign it to me. Add task. Very soon a notification should show up on the iPad. Yep, just came off my phone. Now show up eventually. There it is. All right, so notice as soon as I assign myself a task, they get an email notice that the task has been assigned to them. Within every single task, let me go back to Teams. You can put additional things within that task, set the progress, start and due dates, and due times. Description of what the task is, so if you need additional information for them to know what they need to do, you put it there. You can add a checklist. So let's say test Android, test iOS, test PC, things like that. So it gives me additional things to check off before I can set that task as completed. You can add attachments to that task and additional comments. And then you can also color code it if you want. So I'll make it purple. And I'll set a little tab there. So as you can see, if you're dealing with like a project and you need to quickly assign tasks out to different people within your collaboration, this would be an amazing way to do it. So, and let's see.
This is only available in a group or a team.
You technically already have the Planner app.
Oh, okay.
So you can assign tasks out like that, but it's a lot more streamlined if it's within the team. So you can even set yourself a to-do list and say, I don't need to do these things. So that's pretty much the majority of the Teams application in terms of teams and groups. And if we get back to my presentation slide, I want to note that there are apps available across the board. Fun fact, this entire PowerPoint was actually created from that iPad. So the mobile applications are able to do quite a bit in terms of creating these documents. So as you can see, the different mobile apps that are available. Microsoft Teams is for desktop and mobile. Note that for the desktop download, you have to basically just do Google search for Microsoft Teams download. Microsoft Planner is mobile only. That's also available for your phone. So as soon as I was assigned a task, I also got a notification right there. So there's a mobile app available for Planner. Let's see here, Outlook, as you know, desktop and mobile. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, available for both mobile and desktop. That includes cell phones and tablets. OneDrive is available for mobile and desktop with the desktop download again on Microsoft's site. Now, we are out of time, but if you want to learn more about any of these things that I've talked about, we do have a training system. It's located on training.goucher.edu and allows you to access help documents, training videos, and more on this and all sorts of different subjects. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
I don't know if I can ask this later, but I noticed that my Outlook at home, when I want to attach a file to an email that's going out, it asks me, do you want it from your OneDrive, do you want it from all these other things? But my Outlook at my desktop here at the office doesn't do that same thing.
You may not have OneDrive installed on your desktop computer.
Just at home on my laptop.
Yeah.
I wonder how that would that have happened with the upgrade to the 365, Office 365?
No, you would have had to gone in at some point and set up OneDrive on your computer. It doesn't automatically do it. So, yeah. Yes?
I just want to confirm, I think I heard you say that the students coming in the fall will have 365 accounts. Students prior to that.
Everyone has an Office, okay, let me clarify that. Everyone has an Office 365 account, whether you are a student, staff, faculty, whatever. The email and calendar right now for prior students are on Google. But coming this semester, email and calendar systems will be on Office 365.
For you students.
For new undergraduate students, yes.
Still working on a strategy on how to move current
Yep.
students over.
And that actually brings up another thing I just remembered. Will they be able to see your calendar? The answer is not if you didn't share it with them. So even if your calendar is set within the group, they can't see it unless you specifically said, share my calendar with this person. Anything else?
One other question.
Yes.
So why would I have a OneDrive account and a Box account?
You have both available.
So, but
Your OneDrive is automatic through your Office 365 account. So the box is one that we paid for, which provides the unlimited storage that you get. And and we had this before we moved everyone over to Office 365. Now that we have Office 365 for everyone, you automatically get OneDrive. You can use OneDrive if you want, but you don't have to, unless you want to use the team and group
It really comes more down to preference. I'm pretty sure our license does offer unlimited storage. We checked it once. Yeah, so we have to check the paperwork again. So, okay, I think
Thank you,
that's it.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Pretty quick.